say the guilty verdict will not bring George Floyd back. Now, thanks God for that, because imagine now the guy's put into prison for several years, and George Floyd would come back. I mean, that would be an absolute nightmare. I mean, all the money was spent now on this trial, and taxpayers' money, of course. I mean, who pays all those judges? It's not going to be Derek Chauvin. And now they even called the square after him. So imagine he would come back, and now his family is stone rich because obviously they milked it to the absolute limit, which of course is fair enough. I mean, if he was murdered unlawfully, and he was, because the jury just said that, and you know, this is what it is. So it was voted, and you have to put up with it. I mean, Trump voted as a president of the United States, people put up with it, you know, and Joe Biden, almost even worse. You say at least Trump could kind of talk, and whatever. Well, let me go into politics, but. I'm just saying that now this guy goes to prison for 40 years maximum, second degree, third degree, 30 years or 20 years, and then the manslaughter they shoved in for good measure for 10 years. And George Floyd comes back, so now he has a square, he's a multimillionaire, he's world famous, he can open up a bar or a gym or everything, everybody would get like, yeah, George forever. And the guy would sit in prison for rotting prison just because he need 8 minutes on him. I mean, Muhammad Ali, also a huge African man, was with Fraser and with Foreman in the ring for 15 rounds each. You know, the killer in Manila and the jungle, the rumble in the jungle. You know, so you know, those were you know, real men, put it that way, because you know, one round 3 minutes or 15 minutes, you know, under these conditions that hot, nobody said he can't breathe. They've been banging each other like all day long, and you know, that's and then, you know, nothing happened to them, you know. But of course, I mean, I followed bits and pieces, and this police was kneeing on him completely unnecessary, because if the guy really can't breathe, then why would you knee on him? He has the things on as well. I mean, that he refused to get into the car and stuff, I didn't understand that bit, because obviously he's a big guy, apparently under the influence of illegal substances, really loudly tells you that he doesn't want to go into the car. You will be a bit scared. So I also appreciate that the police officer need to put in some sort of force. But then why is he kneeling on him for it's in the beginning they said 7 minutes, then it went up to 8, then it stayed on 8 a lot, and now it turned out it was almost 10 minutes, so 9.5 or something. So I don't know, someone recorded it in a time lapse, or maybe they played the video so long that, you know, like in the old time with the tapes, if you played it too long, it went so it's easily become like a 3.5 minutes rock and roll song. Came out as, you know, after 10 years listening to it on a tape, came out as a soft ballad for 4.5 minutes, you know. So you bought a cassette in the beginning of on the end of the 70s, and then by the middle of the 80s you had a ballad out of a Shaky Stevens song. Right, so I don't know what the reason of the whole thing behind it is, but I can say they have the verdict, it's all clear. All the jurors said that he's guilty. It was unanimous, and in a way I feel for the guy, because he's gonna go to lifelong in prison. He killed somebody, yes, terrible, of course, but again, with the substances and not going into the car and stuff, you know, what can he do? I mean, he has to do the job. He was called that the guy is a criminal, which he was. Floyd, let's face it, I mean, he had a bigger list on convictions than Al Capone. Of course, not every conviction for Al Capone was written down, so I must admit Floyd said a bit more difficult, because Al Capone was a long time ago, so there were computers and stuff. And then you deal with a person who apparently had some counterfeit money running around with. He's under the influence of marijuana, you can smell it, other toxic substances as well. And he dies of not getting air, so of course it's your fault. I mean, you blocked his airways, and for that matter, I mean, I want anyone to knee on me, and definitely not a huge black guy like George Floyd. But then again, you know, I'm in London, so as my mate says, when I said, well, I mean, you have to be careful because otherwise you go to prison. And the Hungarian guy said, so what if I go to prison while I'm in London? I prefer much more that a big African guy fucks my ass than a gypsy from Balaton. So of course, yeah, different people have different preferences. My preference is that I don't want to I don't want to get involved in so deep into this, but since there was nothing else on the telly to watch, and I can't afford Netflix and I can't afford Amazon. I mean, yeah, use someone else's, but that's okay. It still makes me kind of feel bad. So I don't really want to watch it all day because that would make me feel a bit. But in the night, I kind of, when they go to bed, I come in, because if I watch all day, then I kick people out. So their children watch all day, and then I come in because you get only a few accounts. So if you're trying to be funny, so at night when I kind of, and until then, it's gonna be like 1 a.m. Until then, I have to watch that rubbish all day long, and 4 weeks of that is like a bit tiring. So I thought. It's definitely worth the 7 minutes of my time to say rest in peace, George Floyd. And in this respect, I would say to Derek that what can I say? I mean, is it worth living now for 40, 60 years in prison? Was it worth to kill a man just because you thought that you are bigger than George Floyd's lawyers? So if you have a good lawyers, and if you get the support of the people, and of course Black Lives Matter, come on, what a movement, I mean. So even I put my shirt on for today to show, okay, with this I look a bit like a preacher, but I'm just a comic, really. So thank you for watching it all the end. I needed to stretch it out to 7 minutes to get a bit money out of it, since I had to watch this trial for 4 minutes, 4 weeks. His family got a lot of it, the lawyers got a lot out of it, everybody got a lot of money out of it. So I thought I might as well cash in on that one, because as things said, one of my favorite, Denzel Washington, it doesn't matter what you say, what you do, you can sell it, you sell it, that's it. Put it out and sell it. I mean, if you don't read the newspapers, you're uninformed. If you read the newspapers, you're misinformed. So what you want to do? So which direction you want to go? So that's the Washington words, not mine. So I would say at that stage, arrivederci.